There are two things that you have to remember about chametz. The first is, of course, that you can't eat any chametz on Pesach. The second is that you can't own or have chametz in your absolute possession on Pesach. Now, these two things are not the same, and the implications of each of these is different. In as far as owning chametz is concerned, you could take the chametz that you have, get rid of it, burn it, throw it down the toilet, throw it into the city garbage. Hopefully they'll collect it before Pesach. All of these ways are about disowning yourself from the chametz that you have. Some years ago, even though there's a source in the Tosefta, it became clear that people had a lot of chametz, and that getting rid of it physically would cause them financial distress. And so we instituted, as a community, mechirat chametz. It's possible to sell your chametz to a non-Jew for the time of Pesach. Usually we do it through the agency of the rabbi, the local rabbi, the town rabbi, who then is able to sell the chametz, actually to sell it to a non-Jew, and during the Pesach, the days of Pesach, 7 days in Eretz Yisrael, 8 days in Chutz La'aretz, during those days, the chametz is in the possession of the non-Jew. Assuming that the rabbi knows what he's doing and that the contract is properly organized, your ownership of chametz is taken care of. On the other hand, you can't just leave that chametz around in your house. Because if you left the chametz around in your house, you might be, unwittingly, you might find that you're going to eat it. And you don't want to eat the chametz on Pesach, certainly not. So remember, there are two things. There's ownership and accessibility. And you have to take the chametz that you sold, that is no longer yours, but which happens to be in your house. You have to take that chametz and make it inaccessible. Not to you, not to members of your family, not to children who come around who may not be aware of these distinctions. They should not be accessible to anyone. In order to do that, you take the chametz that you've sold, whether it's whiskey or cookies of some sort. Even though many people have the custom that they don't sell real, honest-to-goodness chametz, which we will describe in the next shiur. You've got to take that chametz and you've got to put it away, under lock and key, actually, in a place that is inaccessible to you, to your family, to the children, etc. So remember, I can disown the chametz. I can sell the chametz to a non-Jew, but as long as it's in my domain, in my house, I have a problem. And the way I solve that problem is by putting the chametz away in a place which is basically inaccessible to everybody. Of course, at the end of Pesach, I'll take the key that I've locked it away with, and I'll open up the box or the room and use that chametz, because the sale becomes undone at that time. But until that time, it has to be inaccessible.